诸位至诚，礼佛行三问讯礼，一问性。三称佛号：南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。Please be seated. Oh. For a while I was like, hey, how come today there's breeze? Oh, there's this mini fan here. Do you all feel warm? Anybody feel slightly warm? A bit? Okay. Let's share the love, huh? Oh, a bit spoiled, huh? Oh, spoiled in what sense? Oh, okay. But okay, is it blowing at anybody directly? No, right? Yeah, but this is mini fan. So, those at the back, next time you know where to sit, okay? Okay. Did the meditation already? Okay. Good evening, brothers and sisters. How are you today? Good. All right. So today is very good. You all can see from this. Yeah, a part of me suddenly arose this bit of compassion. And I decided that, maybe you all may need some help to piece things together. So, we are now in page 8 or so. Yeah. So, in this page 8, there's this whole section here which we ran through. And this thing that we ran through is quite a chunk here. Yeah, and even as I told you all, the first time I covered this commentary, that was in 2009. Yeah, I spent, let me see, 2009, the first time was 2009, and if I don't recall wrongly, I spent 9 months spanning into 2010. Yeah, so when I go through the text again this time round, even for me, this whole block, wow, quite a mouthful. So this whole section here, including the first paragraph, is basically establishing the mental concomitants and the different aspects. Yeah. So I have drawn up this table here, and I hope that this will help you all. You all can sort of copy this now or just take a picture. Yeah, I'll leave this here, and later you all can come and take a picture if you want. Yeah, but so let me just explain what is this table about. Yeah. So over here you have mental concomitants, the various types. Yeah, universally active, the specific situation, those that is wholesome, then primary and secondary defilements, and the indeterministic, corresponding to the Chinese terms. Yeah. Then we have the 4 aspects. In the text, you see 一切性, that means all the different nature. Yeah. 一切地, all the different grounds. 一切时, all the different times. And then 一切具, yeah, with respect to all the different, what do you call that, factors, if you will, yeah, to arise together. So, the different mental concomitants, each of these are universally active, specific situation, and so on. Each of them, it's not just one. Yeah. For example, 片形, okay, 片形, how many are there? 片形, there are 5. Yeah. So there are 5 here. And what this means is that all 5 would arise with respect to all the different natures. Yeah. Whether it's 善, 恶, 无记, wholesome, all 5 will be active also. Unwholesome, you can find all 5 active also. Yeah. Of course, the fact that it's called universally active, that should be a clue. Yeah. That in all the different categories here, they are all always active. Yeah. Specific situation, 别境, that means for certain specific conditions, then this category, they may arise here, they may not arise there. They may arise in this specific condition, but not arise in other conditions. Yeah, we haven't gone through them yet, but here we list out the categorization. So they, however, are also active in terms of the nature and the grounds. Yeah, but for all time, not totally. Okay, in tandem, not totally also. Yeah, not totally. Understand? Wholesome as far as all the grounds. And here I want to clarify something. Yeah. In the last series when I teach at Haiying Gushi and in the Meta Welfare, I've actually put down the side note here already. But this time around when I covered, I made there's a 口过. So if you all actually took down notes, the 九地, previously I mentioned about the 5 jhanas and the 4. Yeah, the correct definition should be 欲界, 色界, 无色界. So 欲界 is 1 地, 1 ground. Then 色界 have 4. Then 无色界 have 4. Altogether 9. Yeah. Yeah. So I correct myself. Yeah. If I don't correct, down there, got one room appear, then 传观法师. Okay, so when I went back, and this is what I would do. Every time after lessons, I would run through mentally the things I've covered. Then I realized that this part, there's a bit of 口过. Yeah, so the di, the grounds the grounds is not just specific to concentration, but all the different states of existence, all covered inside. Yeah. This may come as a surprise for some people to hear Sifu giving a Dharma class or Dharma talk, then apologize and say, I made a mistake last week. But in my lineage, this is a common thing. Common not because we keep making mistakes, but common in the sense that when I was newly ordained, I see my teacher do this. Yeah, when I was newly ordained in Taiwan, my teacher started the 30-day retreat, and each day he will give a few hours of teaching. Then the rest of the day are all meditation. And then occasionally he will mention. When he start, he will go like 各位法师慈悲，各位居士慈悲，阿弥陀佛。昨天妙静 he will refer to himself, you know. 妙静昨天讲这段文，今天要跟大家忏悔。昨天那个地方呢，我回去再查一查，这个地方讲错了。Well, imagine to me, newly ordained novice, I see my teacher in front of, it is just 100 over students. That one is a few hundreds, and then monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen. And my teacher basically just matter of factly say, I made a mistake. Yeah, I went back to double check. This is wrong. Yeah, please have it corrected. Yeah, so in my lineage, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. You better admit. Yeah, you don't try to cover up. Just come clean, be done with it. Yeah, so that's what I mean by in my lineage. The lineage I'm training is very common. Not that we keep making mistakes. We should minimize this. Yeah, but yeah, it happens. It happens. There's another category of mistakes, which is that in the course of explanation, what is inside here is correct, but at the moment as we say it out, sometimes it's a slip of tongue, sometimes it's a Freudian slip, yeah. Sometimes it's basically somehow for whatever reason, yeah. Then I may not even detect. Yeah, if I don't detect it and you detect it, better let me know. Yeah, then I will verify whether that is a valid error. Oh, okay. So grounds refer to. In fact, when I went back, I looked through the notes, and I was like, how come I myself wrote down the notes many years back when I did the first round? So I go and double check. Yeah, this is correct. Yeah, so I want to clarify that. Okay, so I already clarified. Okay, you all still get it wrong, not my fault anymore. Okay, so yeah, so this is the T. Yeah, that's all I want to correct. Then this is the relationship. Okay, for primary and secondary defilement, they are not totally active in all of them, but they are partially active. Yeah, so I put a slash there. Okay, I put a slash there. Just partial. Yeah, not completely active. Not completely active. Completely active there. Yeah. For the rest, actually here it means it's also partial. Yeah, can be partial also. Because each of these category, very good question. How to be partial? Because each of these like primary defilements, there are actually different states. Yeah, so some of the states may be active here, but some of this may not be active here. Understand? So for example, 根本烦恼, just to give you an illustration. 贪嗔痴烦恼. So 欲贪, okay, so greed, hatred, and delusion. So in terms of hatred, in the T itself, yeah, it is only active within the central desire realm. For form and formless realm, they would have transcended, for the most part, this kind of base defilements. Yeah, transcended, but not totally uprooted. So there's still the seeds. Yeah, but it's not active. It's not active. Yeah, so it's not completely active. It's partial. It's only partial. So in the grounds, there are 9 grounds. In the central desire realm, it's active. Yeah, but the higher realms, not totally active. So just as an illustration, how it's possible to be partially active. Understand? Important thing is to understand that this categorization helps us to look at this and say, okay, so of all the different mental concomitants, yeah, some of these permeates all aspects of our life. Yeah, some of these don't permit all aspects of our life. As a matter of fact, for us, when we talk about certain parts like grounds, we are predominantly in ground number 1, yeah, central desire realm. Yeah, until we attain form and formless concentration, we are in a way stuck in ground level. Yeah, ground 1. So in terms of nature, then there's the whole wholesome, unwholesome, and neither wholesome nor unwholesome. Yeah, knowing the categorization can help us to have a how should I put it? It can help us to have a clearer picture of where we stand. Yeah, to know clearly where we stand. Yeah, the first step to recognizing, to putting in effort, is to recognize that, yeah, there are wholesome and unwholesome states. Yeah, wholesomeness and unwholesomeness. Yeah. So this is what this whole chunk is about. Okay? Oh, Ken? I will leave this on the desk. Later, you all can, if you all want, can take a picture. Okay, and you all can share also. Also, a student highlighted that last week I may seem to have skimmed over this part. Yeah, I may seem to have skimmed over this part. Yeah, but I recall that I did explain it already. Oh, yeah. Is there anyone who need further explanation of this paragraph? No, everybody okay? Yeah, because this is really about the relationship between mental concomitants and the heart. Yeah, and by heart we are talking about the 8 different consciousness. So instead of spending because we spent quite a few sessions really on this. Yeah, instead of going to spend even more sessions just to clarify every single word. Yeah, if you can understand the concept, that's good enough. Oh, okay. Yeah. So at this point, we are going to go into the first set, which is the universally active. Yeah. 处作意受想思. Yeah. So the first one is contact. I know that this is quite challenging for many of us. All Chinese words are. Unfortunately, if I were to spend time to go and translate the whole text, then you all may have to wait for a while for me to finish translation. Yeah. So, 处, this is contact. For those who have been attending the Thursday class, you would have encountered this already. For those who have attended the Heart Sutra class or SGC, you would have heard me say this repeatedly. 处, 为三和合分别变异，令心心所处境为性，受想思等所依为业。So, 为三和合. So this 三和合, what does it refer to? This 三和合 refers to the sense base. Yeah, 三和合 literally means the coming together of the 3. What 3? The sense base, sense object, and consciousness. San He He. So what does it entail? Rightly speaking is 成, yeah. 三个土哦，简体字. Is it like that, huh? 啊？哦，小土啊。Okay, 成跟成 then 是. So this 成 refers to the smallest possible element in a way, yeah, that our senses can come into contact with. Yeah. So this is the sense base. This is a sense object. and then we have consciousness. So these three together, this is the san he he, 名为处. And this is what we call contact. This itself is not something that is uniquely Mahayana or uniquely defined in this commentary. You can find this same definition, or teaching inside the Nikayas. Okay, in the Nikayas, in the Agamas, the Buddha directly mentioned this. Besides scriptural or sutra references, we can observe this ourselves. Yeah, we have our senses. We have the eye, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. Then we have form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and bodily contact, mental object. Yeah. The moment these two come together, then the arising of mental awareness. This arising of mental awareness is called consciousness, and when the consciousness then come together with these other two, these three together is contact. Yeah. So first, this 遍行心所。处为三和合，分别变异。So to be able to go and discriminate, or not just discriminate. There's two levels. As a basis of 分别, as a basis for 了别。三和合分别变异，令心心所处境为性。So contact itself is about the mind coming into contact with the object, object of contact. 受想思等所依为业. So the function here, 业. Here it refers to the function or the activity, the consequences, if you will. When this happens, then what is the consequence? It is the basis for the subsequent mental processes to arise. 受想思, 处作意受想思, 处作意受想思. Yes. 处作意受想思, we can say that it's in that sequence. We can say that it's in that sequence. But we haven't covered 受想思, 作意受想思, haven't covered, okay? Everybody okay? So far? Contact, everybody okay? If you have questions, you all must clarify. Yes? 先作意，先处了，再作意。你没有处，你去作意什么东西？ Yes. So if you look at the sutra itself, it says, it just mentioned very briefly, contact, then arising the different sensations or feelings. In the Yogacara school, we go a bit deeper and then look at, okay, after you have contact, what happens? After the initial contact, is there anything else that happens? Anything else that happens? Let's look at contact first. Here, 根净是三法. So this 尘 here, 以尘为净. In most of the classes, I just mentioned 净 directly. 净 means object. Okay? Chen is referring to the thing that you hold as your object. So by themselves, they are called Chen. Yeah? That means the very small particle, if you will. Yeah? But if you have that as your object, then you call that sensory object. Yeah? So in many of the texts covering this area, the two terms, Chen and Jing, is almost synonymously, interchangeably used. Okay? So, 跟进是三法，不相乖离，更互相处，称三和合。Yeah, so the three coming together, they do not go apart. They mutually come together, and in this way is called coming together of the three. Later on, there's this part about how, even after that, if the mind do not, there's a term called 率尔, yeah, hard to find. There's no direct equivalent, but 率尔 is basically like in a moments, in a brief moment, if the mind go and give it attention further, yeah, then subsequent things will happen. If there's no that 率尔, momentary attention to it, then the subsequent ones don't happen. Yeah, subsequent ones don't happen. Okay, but let's continue. 触一跟进是，交涉的力量升起，同时又给予跟进式三法和合的力量。So here is saying that the contact is dependent on the three to come together. Yeah. But likewise, the contact itself gives these three, in a way, like a sustaining force, yeah, to bind them together. Yeah. So they are mutually sort of supporting each other. 分别变异就是三法和合时产生的作用，能令心所境所缘镜像。Yeah. So the interaction between the mind and the object itself. Yeah, it has that function. Yeah, it has that function. 由此促进的功能更引申领纳。So this word, 领纳，领纳 is linked to 受。As these three come together, sense base, sense object, consciousness, coming together is contact. Then this 更引申领纳所缘境的受心所。So this is what we usually translate as feelings, yeah, or sensation. My teacher has often highlighted these two terms together, 领纳受, describing that 受 has this attribute where when it arises, you just have to accept it. If now I were to give you a slap, you cannot help but feel the pain. Yeah, the pain is not something optional. If I slap you, you die will feel the pain, unless the initial contact didn't happen. Unless maybe your sense base is numbed, yeah, or is broken. Then I slap, there's no experience of it. As long as sense base, sense object, consciousness has come together as contact, and it arises as feelings, yeah, or what I call sensation, then you have to accept it. Yeah, 领纳受。Yeah, there are some people who like to be slapped. Yeah, but they will still feel the sensation. The point is that you cannot help but feel the sensation. Whether you interpret, whether you go and like the sensation, that's another thing. Okay, that's another thing. Yeah, yeah. Here he is saying that the moment you have contact, yeah, then it induces, it gives rise to this. Where you die, you have to feel it. Yeah, unless there was an interruption before what we call contact. Yeah, for example, if your senses are impaired, yeah, senses impact come together, but then the sense organ is not there. Yeah, sense base is not active. Then okay. But otherwise, 更引申领纳所缘境的受心所。Yeah. 摄取所缘境。So this term 所缘境。This is opposed to I'm putting in a lot of effort to write slowly. Yeah, because when I go fast, already my writing is horrible. If I go fast, you cannot read at all. So 所缘境能缘心。So 能跟所 this is the doer, this is the recipient. Yeah, this is the doer, this is the object. So the mind that can connect to something, okay, is the 能缘, the mind that can connect. 所缘的境, the object that the mind can connect to, yeah, or focus, if you will. Yeah, either you call it connect or focus. Yeah. So this term, whenever you see 所缘境, then there is the 能缘的心。所缘的境界, in other words. Yeah, so in meditation class that is conducted in Mandarin, you often hear this term 所缘境, 所缘境. Yeah, and it's basically referring to the object that you use as your meditation focus. So when you meditate, you would focus on, for example, your breath. So that's the object of your focus. You may also meditate on the four immeasurables. Then the four immeasurables will be your focus. Yeah, and what is focusing? Your mind. Yeah, 能缘的境与所缘的心, yeah, or 能缘的所缘的境, yeah, and 能缘的心 rather. Okay. So 摄取所缘境, 所缘境相. So this 相, the features. So, because of this contact, it arises feelings. It also allows the mind to latch on to the object, yeah, and then give rise to perception, the 想心所等, yeah, and not just that, no, 等, so and so on. Many other things can happen. Yeah. So the initial contact, that is the start. Okay. Yes. Okay, so this part, 所缘境. So 所缘境 refers to the object of focus. That we focus on. Yeah. So, for example, now your 所缘境, what is it? Hopefully it's not 师父, but whatever I'm saying. Yeah, of course, when Wilson says 师父, he's referring to what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know. Some of you, some of you maybe just focusing on me. Then after the class is over, you go back. 师父 today hair is shorter. Then your friend message you, so I missed today's class. What did Sifu cover? Not so sure, but Sifu's hair is shorter. Yeah. Or you may focus on the text, yeah, but that's okay, yeah. So 所缘境, okay. But focus on the right thing, So 所缘境, yeah, the thing that we focus on. Then I mentioned about how in meditation classes, when it's conducted in Mandarin, the meditation master would often use the term 所缘境, yeah, referring to the meditation object. Yeah. So there is the object that we focus on, but what is focusing on the object is just the mind that's focusing on the object. Now, if I may sort of jump ahead and give you a clue, actually from this itself, you notice that 所缘的境, 能缘的心, there's no me involved. There's no I involved. There's no person involved. It's just the mind. No you, no I, no him, no her involved. It's just mental processes involved. Yeah. So think about it. When we meditate, sometimes we go to some classes, day in, day out, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. Yeah. At some point, we overcome a lot of crazy thoughts. Yeah, a lot of discursive thoughts. Not too difficult if you meditate regularly. After a few months, you should quieten. Yeah, depending on your own schedule. If your day-to-day schedule is very hectic, can still be quite difficult. Yeah, but if it's moderate and you meditate regularly, consistently, you should find that your awareness start to increase and the discursive thoughts start to reduce. And then for some people, after meditating for a while, then they wonder like, so that's it you know? And you may also wonder like, so wait, from this point of awareness, how do I move on to becoming enlightened? Yeah? How to go over that side? And when we observe the breath this way, is it vipassana? Sometimes people will ask. In fact, this is the fundamental. If you just go with this, 所缘境 and 能缘心, and you just go and observe, what is after you have quietened your thoughts, you cannot do this initially. You do this initially, you end up just thinking about it. Yeah, and you will think about everything under the sun, and you're not meditating. Yeah, you will feel good, but you're not meditating. But if you can quieten your mind to a certain degree, then you go and come back to this pair again, then your appreciation will be different. You truly observe that, okay, as far as the object is concerned, there's just the object, and what is observing it is just the mind. There's no I observing it. It's just the mind, mental process arising with respect to the object. So this is different. This is a different layer or different level of appreciation of no self. Yeah, it's not a conceptual conclusion. It is directly observing that there's just these processes. We just happen to give it a name, 全观, my thoughts, yeah, my observation, yeah. But each of these, as it arises, is due to conditions. Then they arise. Each of these, when there are no conditions, then they cease to exist. Yeah. And each time new conditions arise, then new conditions, new mental processes and factors arise. So this is a very direct observation of no self from this simple pair. Yeah. So many of the meditation schools, we may not call it vipassana, but it is vipassana. Yeah. And in the Chinese tradition, sometimes the teaching approach is a bit different. Purposely don't go and 不要把它讲破. This is a unique style found in the Chinese Zen lineage. Sometimes some techniques 不能讲破，讲破就没有意思了. Meaning that they will explain up to a certain point, but they don't give you the full explanation. In a way, I'm not very Zen Chinese. Yeah. The benefits of explaining everything is you have a clear picture. But the downside is that you just have a clear picture. You don't have that realization, yeah, which is very crucial. Yeah. That's why sometimes we give you example. We can only give you one or two examples. Cannot keep on, you ask one more case and explain again. Ask one more case, explain again. After some explanation, you must go and get that understanding yourself. So likewise for this one. Yeah. In many of the schools I know of, they just teach you the fundamental steps. Then for you to go and appreciate this yourself. Yeah. Because this part have to be done by yourself. Yeah. Giving you the full explanation just become a concept, which is again away from reality. You have a thought, our sister.
Individual consciousness is unique because no person has the same consciousness. So can't the consciousness be I, not having to insist that the I must be permanent, the I can be just momentarily thought consciousness because it's the way it is.
So one could look at it and say that if we define I as changing, if we define I as impermanent, if we define I as such, then I can be that. But if I can be that, then I can be anything. Because if two different states have arisen over time, yeah, and we can say that I can be this, can be that, although they are not the same, then it's basically just a label. We still have to realize that in that case it's just a label. It is not an unchanging entity, yeah, that persists through time.
When people say that I, do they actually see themselves as permanent and unchanging? Because I change my mind all the time and I'm still quite comfortable with the concept that it's I.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be something that is so, that's so coherent. It's like you have new perception, new thought, new input.
Yeah. But we hold on to our thought and insist that this is mine.
At this moment maybe mine, but next moment I think it's not. It's also actually out.
Yeah, but at least for that moment that you hold on, then the I is active and it causes us stress with others. Isn't it? We may not consciously sit down and write a thesis about what I is. Agree? Yeah? But in a very unconscious way, we have this, if I can say, opinion. Yeah? If you think about it, we may not even have all this concept before learning the class, isn't it? Yeah. So our sister is correct. For most of us, we don't have we don't think so complicatedly about I. Yeah. But if you were to sit down and consider, when we refer to I, is it referring to a disconnected set of things that are unrelated? Yeah. Or that they are different things? Or do we unconsciously or consciously think of ourselves since young? That's the same I from young, ma, isn't it? Or do we say, oh yeah, it's different I from young, but I just happen to give it a same, I just refer it to I, it as I anyway? Or do we think that it's me, it's the same me that was experiencing things when I was young? Yeah. Like now, if you ask yourself this question, yeah, think about when you were really young, 5 years old, or 10 years old, depending on how far you can remember. Okay? And I want to ask you, who is the one who who laugh and cry, have preferences? Who is the one who did this or that? Yeah. Is it a separate person not related to you, or is it the same you who experienced it, just look different? There may be some of us who would think in a way that, oh yeah, it's a different person, but I call it I anyway. But if you can do that, then you can refer to any child and say that's I also. But we don't do that. We refer specifically to that one child and say that that's I. So agreeably that, yeah, somehow it's different, but we strongly attach to that and say it's the same I.
I think the confusion is the body, isn't it? Because of this body we tend to
So for you, or for all of you, which way do you refer to? When you think about your 5-year-old you, how many of you think in terms of, no, even though it looks different, but it's the same I who is referring to, experiencing it? How many of you? Most of us, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So just to look at the body first, yeah, because it's most apparent. So although we, yeah. Yeah. So at the same time, we can all agree that, yeah, it's changing. And even if we consciously agree that, well, why can't we redefine I as a changing me? But yet, we still feel that there's something that is the same, no? And by same, when we say it's the same me, it cannot be different. Otherwise, it will be basically a paradox. Yeah. So, although most people don't spend so much time thinking about what is I, but we just unconsciously somehow feel like it's the same person from young till now. Yeah. So this definition of I being permanent or persistent, unchanging, yeah, and with control, this is not something that the Buddha or the Bodhisattvas or the masters cook up to just for argument's sake. This is what the masters from other schools assert. And how, when you really go down to it, that's how we feel. Without learning. Without having to attend Dharma talk or go for some philosophy class, we quite naturally feel like the young me is the same as this one. Physically, yeah, we look different, but it's the same person. Yeah. And by same, it cannot be changed. It must be the same. This is... Here we are not concerned about the reason why it's like that. The fact is that it's like that. So that's why the text put up, okay, the I is defined in this way. Like it or not. Regardless of whether it's social conditioning or somehow due to beginningless life of ignorance. Yeah, we are not here to debate how it come about. But the current state is like that. Isn't it? So we cannot simply, if we can simply redefine I, and we all suddenly, oh yeah, why don't we do that? And if you can do that, then we can instantly become enlightened. Unfortunately, no matter how we discuss and until the cow come back, yeah, when you go back, okay, when you go back, it's still same I. And even if it's momentary attachment, it's still the I. We still have hope. There's still attachment to this and that as I. So whether it's this or that, this is still the fact. Yeah. So the teaching is targeted at this aspect. Yeah. And it's not demolishing something that exists, then we go and tear it apart. It is that the Buddha, the approach is, you somehow feel that this thing exists, that there's something permanent that persists. But if you go and observe, is there anything permanent that exists? Actually, no, nothing permanent. But habitually, we just have this mindset. And again, regardless of whether it's social conditioning or somehow karmically habitual tendencies, irregardless. This is how we are. So this is not as though in Buddhism we come out with some stupendous definition. Understand? So, 能缘心所缘境, the mind that can focus and the object that is the focus. Wait. Now that we know that the I is this number of processes, what do you mean? What do you mean by that the I is this? Okay. We know, but we just know conceptually. So remember in the Heart Sutra class I mentioned Wen Si Xiu. Yeah. So now at most we can say we have a knowledge, but we may not even agree with this knowledge. Yeah. Like some of us may not agree with this knowledge also. So that's like saying you hear of someone's viewpoint. It's just knowledge of the viewpoint, but you may not agree. So the disagreement may be due to the lack of understanding of how it works. So you go and reflect on it, you contemplate on it. Then at some point, it seems to make sense. Then you have an understanding of why it's like that. This is a deeper level of knowing, a deeper level of appreciation. So this is the second level of wisdom. But that itself is still insufficient to uproot this habitual tendency, this ignorance that is so deep-rooted. You need to go and do the cultivation that enables us to verify this directly. To go and see directly that what I described just now is just me telling you. You need to go and observe until you are completely, utterly convinced there's only these two things. No I involved. Because now, even sometimes when you attend meditation class, conventionally we will say, observe your breath. Still got my ma. Yeah. But that's why sometimes I would purposely say, observe the breath. You all may observe, those who pay attention to my instructions, I will say, observe the breath. Be mindful and aware and present with the breath. Not yours, not his, just the breath. Because this breath, in what way is it yours? If it's yours, you can keep and then you can hold it and then go and cash in or what. But it's in out, it doesn't belong to you, no. So I purposely changed the terms that I use. Consciously, but because I don't explain it, you all may just take it as the same. But I do this consciously to subtly let you, sort of nudge you in that direction. But if you still don't observe, what can I do, right? But now even as I tell you clearly already, that even in my instructions is embedded this, is still not yours. You still haven't observed it. Yeah. This is not something unique to Mahayana training. When I was in Myanmar, Chenme Sayadaw, he's under Mahasi Sayadaw. So the immediate is noting, label, thinking. Yeah. And then as in one of the classes, then he mentioned, if you observe energetically, you label it intensively, repeatedly, then one day you observe that there's only thinking. There's no you, there's no I, no person or being. When I heard that, I almost cried. Because I'm like, that's the Diamond Sutra. He's a Theravadan monk. He never read the Diamond Sutra. It's exactly what it is. 无我相、人相、众生相、寿者相. Yeah. It's always pointing to the same observation. Yeah. But he's just sharing what can be observed. But we haven't observed. We just say, "Hey, nice idea." Yeah. But you have to go and observe. Yeah. So knowing it, not too difficult to know. You just Google, attend a few Dharma class. It is always repeated. Same thing. Yeah. So the question is, her question is, before we meditate, can we recite this thing and internalize it first? I have mentioned in my meditation classes. In some classes I mention, in some classes I don't mention, because depending on the class, some are still struggling with the thoughts. You can tell them all this, they drown, So for some classes, I actually highlighted that in our lineage, we actually have a gradual process of applying vipassana. So you practice samatha through the breath. Just observe the breath, label the thoughts, observe the breath. Then when the mind is fairly quiet and stable, then you do the first level of reciting the teachings. Just a short verse that you want to use as a point of reflection. You recite it first, then you reflect upon it. Then later you go and observe the breath, observe the mind, observe your thoughts, observe everything in terms of what you have reflected. So in this way, you are doing Wen Si Xiu directly when meditating. So this is what in my lineage have been taught, and I've mentioned it before in class also. But I don't mention it to all, because for some they're still struggling, a leg pain, then give you okay? So 所以说受想思等所依业为业. So this whole chunk below is highlighting that contact is the starting point, is the thing that the subsequent mental concomitants depend on, as function, based on contact. Without contact, 受想思 and all the subsequent one cannot arise. Without contact, nothing can happen. Okay? 指它的功能, that is function. Okay? Now, to summarize this, as far as contact is concerned, this is the first point, where if you didn't come into contact with the sound, you wouldn't laugh. So if you look at many of our practices, some practices actually involve cutting off this contact. When you go on a retreat, then we say, okay, don't watch television, you don't listen to music, don't have entertainment, isn't it? And you stay, usually you would stay in the monastery. Or even if you are at home, then we'll say, try not to have contact with people. Why? Then in this way, you don't have to deal with the subsequent mental process that arise. Understand? So this teaching helps us can help us to understand those practices better. Otherwise, you just go for it. Hey, how come this one cannot, that one cannot? The result without the understanding is either you accept it blindly and take it as a ritual. Oh, must like that. If not like that, it's not pure. There's no merit. But that would be erroneous, an erroneous view. So if you look at most of the practices, part of it is involved in cutting off that contact. Cutting off that contact. But in Buddhism, this is not an end also. This is not an end, because even if you don't cut off contact, you can still deal with it later. The Buddha don't go around on arms round closing his eyes. In this way, I am pure. Yeah. In fact, there was one monk who severed one of his senses in order to be pure. Yeah, thinking that that's the way to be pure. The Buddha, when he heard about it, he scolded him. Yeah, he said, like, when you foolish man, when did the Tathagata say that you have to do that? Don't do that. What you should be doing is severing your craving and attachment to the contact, not go and cut off your senses. Understand? So, this is contact. Understanding the function of the contact, the scope of the contact, yeah, and so the same attitude towards the other mental concomitant. Okay.
One thing that you need the contact to actually measure your own progress and see your mastery. Like, for example, if you run away or you damage your senses, I mean, is this true mastery,
So her question, short answer, yes. Short answer, yes. So her question is, can we say that contact is a way for us to know our progress? Yes, in a way, yes. Yeah, short answer is yes. Because if you were to totally cut off your contact, yeah, and then you say that, oh, you see, I haven't done anything evil for the past 5 years. Who cannot do that? you have no contact to begin with. Yeah. Having said that, there's one contact that you cannot cut off anyway, your mental contact. But that is where in Buddhism, your enlightenment technically cannot be measured by others. Yeah, you can lie to the whole world and say that, oh, my mind is purified, but you yourself know. So there's no lying in a way. And that mental contact, the mind part, if you can cut off your mental contact, you must cut it through samadhi. And then if you can do that, wow, well done. I clap for you. Yeah. But even then, if you just use samadhi to cut it off, it is not the end solution also. Because your samadhi will come to an end. Yeah. This is why in Buddhism we say that the different jhanas and samadhi is considered a form of liberation. Yeah, Xing Xie Tuo. Yeah, it's a form of liberation. When you're in samadhi, you are not in contact with the outside world, and your mind will not, as a result, become attached to the outside world in that sense. Yeah, but it's not a permanent solution. Yeah, because once you exit samadhi, then what may happen? If you are still alive as a human being, you may either, the kind of spring effect. You press it down. When you release, wow, yeah. Or you may get revulsed so strongly, and when you exit samadhi, any bit of sound or laughter, you get upset. Yeah, this is common in many practitioners. Before they practice Buddhism too deeply, very deeply, they are quite easygoing. After they learn Buddhism, they do chanting, they go for meditation retreat. When they go back home, shh. Don't laugh, I'm meditating. Yeah, why? Because if you don't develop wisdom, and you just use jhana and samadhi to cut off the contact with the outside world, then you are not guaranteed to have wisdom. Yeah. Then, when you are not meditating and you hear those contacts, normal people feel okay, very happy. But you will feel that it's very noisy. Very, almost like you can physically feel the sound. Wow, very chak, you will feel repulsed. Those who have gone for maybe 7 days, 10 days retreat or more, you may understand what I'm saying. Yeah, this is not something theoretical. You have to go and really experience it. When your senses become so quietened, just the bus passing by, you're like, yeah. So, cutting off, okay, admirable if you can cut off, but not the solution yet. Yeah. Before you can deal with it totally, good to keep your distance. Yes. Yeah. How to overcome this problem? After retreat, that withdrawal syndrome. Two answers. One, cannot help it. Two, you have to use the wisdom. You have to use the wisdom portion. Yeah. If you use the technique which is, it doesn't matter. When I say use wisdom, I don't mean vipassana and not samatha. It doesn't matter what you call the technique, okay? But if there's no wisdom arising from it, no insight arising, then your method is still not vipassana. Maybe trying to be vipassana, but not vipassana yet. Because vipassana is seeing, and then from there you have a realization. Yeah. So regardless of which center you go to, whatever technique you use, before you give rise to vipassana, whatever technique you use is still quite the preliminary stage. Yeah. So one way is to do reflection, to compensate or to complement, more like complement your meditative practice. How to do the reflection? What to use as reflection? All the different teachings that we have learned so far. Impermanence, no self, impermanent suffering, no self, emptiness. Yeah. Even contemplation on the four immeasurables, for example, can help. For example, when we practice four immeasurables, metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha, yeah, love, compassion, joy, appreciative joy, rejoice for others, and equanimity. Usually we sit down there, may I be well and happy. May I be free from ill will. Okay. Yeah. Usually the instructor will say in a very, and then you go into the, Okay. Yeah. But there's another level of practicing metta karuna, which is that whatever things you see, you exercise metta karuna. You consider, is there suffering? Do I see suffering? Do I see suffering? What is the cause of the suffering? Just this simple question. And whatever you see, whatever you hear, do I hear suffering? What is the cause of suffering? Yeah. Or you can have one more step before that. Is this impermanent? If this is impermanent, then is this subject to suffering? Yeah, so then this requires your wisdom to kick in. And if you can do this very repeatedly, then this becomes your natural interaction with the outside world. In this way, after retreat, even after retreat, when you hear sound, you hear that it's impermanent. The sound is impermanent. The moment the sound is, in fact, by definition, sound is impermanent. Isn't it? Yeah. And that being impermanent, is it conducive for stability or instability? Instability. If something is unstable, is it conducive for us to feel more secure or less secure? More certain or less certain? Of course, less secure, less certain. Yeah. So, is something that is like that, is it more conducive for happiness? Less conducive. That's not to mention if you hear someone shout angrily. Usually when someone shouts angrily at us, we get upset first. But if we train ourselves repeatedly, then we hear that this is suffering. Then from there immediately arise compassion. This person is suffering. You hear someone laughing, then you observe, but this laughter is temporary also. Then your mindset is, so noisy. So this is one approach. Okay? I hope this can help those who have been going on regular retreats. Okay? So, next, 坐意. So first contact, then 注意. 注意 is attention. Wei then 警醒为性, yeah, alerting the mind, okay, alerting the heart. 于所缘境,引性为业, yeah, so it has the function of drawing the mind or heart towards the object, yeah, yeah, alerting the mind, yeah, drawing the mind towards it, okay. 此作意心所具有警觉策动心所的心理功能，能引心导向所缘的境界。No, as I mentioned earlier, 所缘的境界。So this 所缘的境界 is basically equivalent to 所缘境。好，所缘的境界。Chinese like to be short and sweet, huh? Yeah. Why use 5 characters? Yeah. 的 take it out. 界 take it out. 所缘境. Yeah. Yeah. So attention. After you have contact, yeah. So attention draws the mind towards it. Yeah. You pay attention in a way. Is this the English meaning? In a way, capture it. Yeah, to draw your mind towards something. To draw your mind towards something. Yeah. If your mind don't get drawn towards it, then it's just that initial. Okay, that's it. So this word 作意, I must highlight something that is a bit tricky. I was sharing with some students. Sometimes I feel that writing a book is easier. I write a book, get it published, you all go and read yourself. Yeah. Maybe those students of mine who know me directly, they may text me, they may come and see me. Hey, Sifu, you wrote in your book, huh? But usually when we read a book, we find it like we just accept that it has to be correct. It's printed, ma. Yeah. But when giving a talk, you have to explain everything. So, 作意, there's a term 如理作意. Yeah, it's actually the same word. Okay, so 如理作意, in my lineage, it has another meaning. That you do reflection according to the teachings. But here, this 作意, so the word 作意, okay, in my lineage, we have another meaning, which is to contemplate, to think, yeah, to reflect. But here, it is simply paying attention. How you direct your mind. Directing your mind here, directing your mind there. 作意. Okay? I want to highlight that there's this difference in, slight difference. Yeah. But for the sake of this commentary, we are going to stick to attention. Yeah. Again here, even after you have contact, do you continue to pay attention to it or not? Yeah. So for example, if you are in a cafeteria having lunch with your colleagues, with your friends and family, different people, then next table are strangers. Does it mean that you don't have that initial contact? You have your ear, you cannot like that. Yeah, you cannot. So while you're talking to your friends, your colleague, next door table, next table, they are chit-chatting, they are discussing, they can hear, hey, how's work? I tell you, my boss, you can hear. But as long as you don't go and pay attention, you don't direct your mind further to it, so you can still hear the sound, but you don't direct further your attention to it. Then nothing else happens. But if you just momentarily give it a bit more attention, then the subsequent discrimination can kick in. The subsequent like and dislike can kick in. The subsequent interest can kick in. Then momentarily you just listen, Well, my boss, quite interesting. Then we may pay even more attention and then discriminate further. So, attention. The Buddha often mentioned about right attention. We should learn to know when we pay attention, just a moment now, when we pay our attention to certain things, for us at our level, okay, may not be the same for others. At our level, when we pay attention to certain things, maybe it can trigger unwholesome states. When we pay attention to certain things, maybe it can trigger wholesome states. When we avoid paying attention to certain things or certain people or certain whatever, then the unwholesome states don't arise. Maybe if we don't apply attention, don't direct our mind to certain things, then wholesome states don't arise. So the Buddha advised that we should know this also. Then, when we happen to come into contact with things that used to trigger unwholesome states, until you can make it, then you must redirect your attention. Redirect our attention away from those things that can trigger evil, unwholesome states, and direct it towards things, objects that can give rise, can trigger good, wholesome states. So also attention. Okay? You have a question? Sorry? Referring to Liao Bie and Fen Bie. This one is attention. Attention haven't reached the Fen Bie yet. After this attention, then can give rise to Fen Bie. Then we can say we give rise to further, discrimination. You go and label, you go and form perception. If you don't even apply that initial attention to it, okay, passing sound. Once consciousness arises, have Liao Bie already. Once you have contact, there's consciousness already. So the Liao Bie is already there. But still no cause kind of, not like kind of complicated thinking or what is this, all those things. Awareness and sorry? Vigilance. What is the word? Awareness and vigilance. You mean for attention? Liao Bie and Fen Bie. Liao Bie can be translated as awareness. Fen Bie, discrimination. Let me write it down. So to discriminate, distinguish, and to discern, all the different ways that we were to what do you call that? Make sense of things. What we commonly can call thinking or forming a perception and so on. Okay? Yes. What goes on to direct the attention? At this point, when we this level of directing the attention is can be very subtle, you know. Can actually still be very subtle. Yeah. So whether or not so we can say that in terms of directing attention, this part here is just about when there's attention. But whether you consciously go and direct your attention or not, if you do it consciously, yeah, then it involves the mental process to make the decision. Yeah. When we usually come into contact with the sensory input and have the initial contact, that is still at a very base level. Yeah. The mind would habitually just flit over. Yeah. Shoop. Very quickly, just go over. Some people have more such habitual tendency than others. Yeah. Some people lesser. For some people, if they are focused on something, surrounding world, the whole house collapse. Focus on the game. Yeah. But for some people, they cannot. They do whatever, do halfway. The moment there's a sound, what happened now? Similarly, when we have a class, yeah, when there's when the door open, I don't mention names. Some may just instinctively turn your head. Of course, this turning of head is very coarse already. Yeah, it's relatively coarse speaking. Yeah, relatively coarser. Yeah. Here we are just talking about the minor, just fleeting. Oh. Yes. Yes. It could be that awareness. Yeah, that awareness as we are driving. Yeah, that awareness. I would hope that all of you who drive have that awareness to know that you have to pay attention to the road when you drive. Not everybody know. Some people may maybe you all be the judge. When we first start to learn to drive, our tendency is we pay utmost attention to the road. Because we don't know how to drive it, very kanchiong. And we pay a lot of attention to when to step on the gas, when to change the clutch, you know. But once we know how to drive, it becomes motor skill. In modern terms, we call it motor skill. You don't do it consciously anymore. You just, and then at that point in time, then you start to have a conversation with your friend. Hey, so how? Last week, after the, then you drive, then you just, and then you filter lane without checking anymore. Yeah. Then can what? You can text some more, some people. Yeah, then you have accidents. So we all start off with full attention on the road. Yeah. So sometimes our mind may drift. We don't consciously go and do this, do that, but our mind may drift away. Yeah. But because of the prior training that we have to pay attention, so sometimes that training kick in. So hopefully for the drivers out there, please kick in more often. Yeah, try. So, yeah, 处作意受. Le shou, ku shou, fei, shuang fei. Yeah. Or what we sometimes say, 苦受乐受不苦不乐受. Yeah. So, feelings. Yeah. Or what I often highlight to be sensation. So these feelings or sensation, there. How many types are there? Yeah, That's correct. How many more types? In one of the sutta, in the Buddha's time, a few monks had this discussion. Yeah, how many feelings are there? Then one of them said, there's one, just feelings. Then another monk said, no, there's two, body and mind. Bodily feelings and mental feelings. Then another one said, no, there are three. Yeah, painful feelings, pleasant feelings, neither painful nor pleasant. So Venerable Ananda heard this, and then he was like, oh, so who is correct? So he went to see the Buddha. Then he related the conversation and discussion to the Buddha, and the Buddha said, they are all correct. But besides that, there's also 6 kinds of feelings. The feelings arising from eye, ears, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. Then there are also 18 kinds of feelings. Yeah, the past, present, and future arising from these 6. Yeah, there's also different combination like worldly and otherworldly. Okay, so you just multiply, keep multiplying. Okay, then there is the what else? Worldly, otherworldly. Then there is the supramundane. That's the worldly and otherworldly. Yeah. So all together, in the end, the Buddha mentioned 108. 108 different kinds of feelings. Yeah. So oftentimes we hear about the number 108. It's linked to this 108 kinds of feelings. From 108 kinds of feelings, if you don't apply wisdom, then it can give rise to greed, hatred, and delusion. It can give rise to defilements. Yeah, so oftentimes when we refer to 108, it also refer to 108 kinds of defilements. Over here, you look at this block. It's not a lot, yeah, but they all can be subsumed into one another. Okay. Are we stopping at 9:30 or 9? Okay, it is 9:05. So I will leave this here. Okay. Then if you all want, you all can take a picture later. Put your palms together. 愿消三障诸烦恼，愿得智慧真明了，普愿罪障悉消除，世世常行菩萨道。阿弥陀佛，起立。诸位至诚，礼佛行3问讯礼，1问讯，再问讯，3问讯。Till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always, 乖乖啊。